All right, so we had a viewer question from Marlon White. And most of the time, I just answer questions in the comments because it's what I do. Uh, but this seemed like a good topic. I'll clip it up on the screen for you. Um, but basically, he asked me in light of the slap heard around the world at the Oscars if I would address self control. And I feel like that's actually a worthwhile conversation to have because self control is a major selling point in the martial arts. People talk about developing self control and discipline all the time as one of the benefits, albeit a secondary benefit. Let's be honest, it's a secondary benefit. This stuff is all about fighting. Um, and by learning how to become a fighter, you kind of end up having to learn all of these other things. That includes even the fitness side of it. The fitness side of it is still technically a secondary benefit. So when we look at this stuff, the concept of self control uh, really is twofold, right? So on the actual martial arts side, the combat side of things, when we talk about self control, what we're actually talking about is the fact that self control is about being able to pick your battles, being able to choose your battles by not being led by emotions, right? On the Eastern side of things, um, Zen Buddhism is a massive cultural aspect, which is very by and large about not being ruled by your baser instincts. And on the Western side of things, we have Stoicism, which is basically the same thing. Uh, I shouldn't say it that way because it's not the same thing, but it boils down to the same concept of not being ruled and led by your baser instincts, by your emotions, right? Learning how to direct your life based on, um, actual uh, goals and needs and rationale and things like that. So when we look at this, it is a mistake to consider martial arts to be inherently philosophical, but it is also a mistake to completely disentangle them from the cultures they came up in. And so this idea of self-control, of course, is like, why do we fight in the first place, right? We fight to keep the peace, more or less, right? I mean, we could get into linguistics and stuff and how the character for martial actually means to stop fighting or to stop war. That's cool. I don't know that it's actually that deep of an idea, though. The reason that we fight, though, generally, is because somebody has threatened our peace. Somebody has threatened our ability to just, live our lives the way we are supposed to be living our lives. The problem is because we are dealing with caveman machinery, we basically read a lot more as threats than really is, right? And so by training in the martial arts, by training in fitness, and by understanding the psychology of things and all that, by dealing with all this stuff and learning all the primary and secondary benefits that goes into training, you end up actually learning how to become a more peaceful person simply by virtue of the fact that you learn how to pick your battles and what's worth your time and what's not worth your time, what is a legitimate threat and what's not a legitimate threat. That is a massive, massive part of it. Now, on the other side of it is honestly just kind of a training artifact, which is honestly just the fact that when you are training with your friends, because you're going to be training with your friends, you're going to be training with people that you live and work with, you're going to be training with people that you like and you care about. And the concept of having self control is being able to engage at a level of intensity without actually causing any kind of significant or long term harm. And that's a massive, powerful thing in and of itself, right? Just the training effect of learning how to be in control of yourself so that you don't just make mistakes of a less recoverable or unrecoverable nature is massive. So, well, that is what I would consider a more modern and even maybe a tertiary benefit of this. It's kind of the same thing that we're talking about here. We're really not talking about anything that is particularly esoteric or anything. It really is about keeping the peace and reducing unnecessary harm, which at the end of the day is really what we fight over in the first place. I mean, yeah, we fight over territory and resources. Why do we fight over territory and resources? Because it's what we need to live our lives, right? And it's that simple. And like I said, it's just because humans are complex creatures, and because we are dealing with this caveman meat machine, we tend to read things as threats to our livelihoods much more than they actually are. And so, there are so many things about conflict that are avoidable, right? And this is one of the reasons why we say that, like in a self-defense scenario, like 9 times out of 10, you're just engaged in illegal or unsanctioned fighting, because the majority of the time when it actually comes to blows, there were steps that could be taken to de-escalate or avoid entirely. And that's actually a major part of this. So like self-control is actually part of the self-defense thing, because self-control is going to get you out of those situations that are completely unnecessary to be in the first place. We develop self-control to keep the peace and reduce harm. That's it. It's not any more complicated than that. It's just a matter of being, masters over our baser instincts, because is the machinery hasn't caught up to modern society. That's it. So I guess that's all, and I will talk to you guys later. Good journey. Hey, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share, do all the other social media stuff. You can check out our other socials, as well as take a look at some of the merchandise that we have for offer in the links below. And if you happen to be in the Phoenix metro area, stop in, come in for a class, come in just to say hi. We'd love to meet you. Until next time, good journey.